What's going on, it's Suck and I'm back with a brand new video on SuperDuprTech, and in today's video I'll be showing you what it's like to play a handful of games on the M3 powered iMac. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers, so if you are new around here then I must ask you to hit the subscribe button, clicking the bell to be notified of when a new video goes live. But without any further ado, let's hit the titles. So first things first, let's get into talking about the specific specification of the iMac which I'm testing in today's video. So this model has the M3 chip, which has an 8-core CPU, a 10-core GPU, 256GB of SSD storage, along with 8GB of unified memory. And the games which I tested on this iMac were Battlefield 5, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Minecraft, League of Legends, Grand Theft Auto 5, CSGO, Firewatch, Fortnite, Hitman 2, CSGO 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Thief Simulator 2, Watch Dogs Legion, Halo, Overwatch 2, Resident Evil Village, and finally Hogwarts Legacy. So I wanted to see which games were able to max the 60Hz refresh rate of this iMac's display. So I started off by playing at this iMac's native resolution of 4480 by 2520, and keeping the graphics settings to high, we can see that Minecraft was the best performing game, with it averaging 84 frames per second, which was followed up by Fortnite and League of Legends averaging 70 and 64 frames per second respectively. These three games were the only games to average 60 frames per second, and as you can probably tell, Battlefield 5, Hitman 2, Cyberpunk, Watch Dogs Legion, Overwatch and Hogwarts Legacy would not run on this iMac at this resolution. In fact, every time I try to run these games at this resolution, as you can see with Battlefield 5, it simply would not work, with it in fact crashing most of the time. It's also worth noting that games like CSGO 1 and 2 along with Resident Evil Village were also quite playable at this resolution, although they weren't able to max the 60Hz refresh rate of this iMac's display. So I then lowered the resolution down to 4K UHD, that's 3840 by 2160, and when lowering to this resolution we pretty much see the same three games are performing the best, with Fortnite and League of Legends switching positions and Minecraft still performing quite dominantly. And as you can see, when playing at this resolution, Battlefield 5 and Hogwarts Legacy were able to run, although quite poorly, and as you can see with Hogwarts Legacy, it averaged a measly 9 frames per second, and Battlefield 5 averaged 11 frames per second. And we've still got Hitman 2, Cyberpunk, Watch Dogs Legion and Overwatch 2 which were failing to run at this resolution. And so I did the only thing which I knew to do, and I lowered the resolution, this time down to full HD, that is indeed 1920 by 1080. Now when playing games at this resolution, you can see that Minecraft and League of Legends have now switched positions, with Minecraft now in second place, with League of Legends averaging 180 to Minecraft's 143 frames per second. Fortnite still performed admirably at this resolution, with it averaging 91 frames per second, and we've also got a number of games which are close to or exceeding this iMac's 60Hz refresh rate, with Shadow of the Tomb Raider averaging 58 frames per second, Grand Theft Auto averaging 64 frames per second, the original CSGO averaging 77 frames per second with CSGO 2 averaging 65, we've got Thief Simulator 2 averaging 63 frames per second, Halo was averaging 59 frames per second, and we've also got Resident Evil Village which averaged 64 frames per second. And considering that most of these games are being played through crossover, I'm quite impressed, to be brutally honest with you, and I hadn't expected some of these games to average anywhere close to 60 frames per second. Of course, we've still got Watch Dogs Legion and Overwatch 2 which for some reason are still failing to run on this Mac, which is quite interesting as these two games were able to run on the MacBook Pro which had the exact same M3 chip. So I'm not sure exactly as to why this may be, maybe because it's also got to power up a larger display. Who knows, but as you can imagine, I wanted to see if I could potentially get these two games to run, so I did the only thing I knew to do. That's right, I lowered the resolution down to 1280 by 720. Now when playing these games at this resolution, sadly we still see that Watch Dogs Legion and Overwatch 2 are still not running on this iMac, which is quite disappointing, as I had hoped to actually see these games run on this iMac. And I think the shocking thing here is, even at this resolution, we managed to play Cyberpunk, which, yes, I understand it's a 4-year-old game. We still managed to play this game and it still looked quite decent, even though it was being played at 720p. Nothing too crazy, but at least it was smooth enough. 37 frames per second is still quite laughable, but it's certainly playable to a degree. But if you want my honest take, I probably wouldn't play any of these games at this resolution. They just don't look overly too great. But like I said, it's good to know that at least at this resolution you can play these games. I think the most important thing to take away from today's video is that all of these games, bar Watch Dogs Legion and Overwatch 2, are being played on an all-in-one which is approximately 11mm thin. Honestly, let that sink in for just a minute, because what gaming laptop, gaming machine do you know has a 27-inch display and is able to play these games at these kind of resolutions? It's honestly quite impressive. But hey, if you'd like to see what it's like to play these games on a maxed spec iMac, then be sure to subscribe, clicking the bell icon to be notified of when those videos go live, as I will be working on those over the coming weeks. If you've got any questions or if there's any further games that you'd like to see tested on these iMac models, then be sure to let me know by leaving a comment down below in this video's comment section, or alternatively you can hit me up on my social media, links to which can be found down below in this video's description. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care and have a good one.